to Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, Super Nomaniacs. Welcome to the Super Nomaniac Lounge. I'm your host, Nomad, and I got my guy with me, the Canuck. And later on, at some point, I think we might have a Triple R sighting, man. Triple R is live on vacation. He tracked Ryan Poles down to Maui, man, to try to convince him to pick up the phone. Might be some trade opportunities out there. I don't know that a lot of Bears fans right now really feel like that, because I get a lot of different comments on Twitter and on social media sites about what they think Ryan Poles should do, especially off that show we just did last night with Brendan. And we had a wild conversation that night. It got wild. It got kind of wide and rangy with what we could do, how we feel about the guys that's on the team now. And do we even need to make a move at the trade deadline? Because here's what I think. I think there'll be several opportunities out there for Ryan Poles to make a move. One of the bigger questions is what position group, if he were to make a move and go buy at the trade deadline, do a lot of people think he should do something with? So you get a lot of, right now I'm seeing a whole lot of, if he's going to make a move, he needs to do something on the interior of the offensive line or at tackle. And so that seems to be like the biggest. I don't know what you've been hearing, kids, but that's like the biggest thing I'm hearing. Of course, there's a lot of people that also see Myles Garrett as an opportunity with the Cleveland Browns. They're in the middle of nowhere and going further south fast. And so they may be uprooting some of the key guys that they have on that roster. You got Myles Garrett, you've got
Bingo.
Myles Garrett, the other defensive end. You got Greg Newsome. You got Wyatt Teller. You got guys like that. It's a lot of people interested in Wyatt Teller, but the conversation goes far and wide, and we're gonna have that conversation tonight. I'm gonna tell you guys, really what I think. What I think doesn't really make a damn difference. Neither does anybody else's thoughts, but we're gonna sit here and have those conversations anyway, and kind of virtue signal what we think Ryan Poles should do and why. But while we wait for Trip to come in from Maui, we got him on location. I think got him on satellite. He's going to come in. But in the meantime, man, I'm going to pass it on to my guy, the Canuck, for some pleasantries before we start cooking.
What it do, Super Nomaniacs? Welcome back to the lounge for some extra sauce. Me and my guy chopping it up here as per normal. Give you guys a little bit of love. Give those who give us love some love. Big love to Black Diamond out there. Big love to Joseph Archer. Super Nomaniac Joseph Archer, that is. And Super Nomaniac Black Diamond. Mad love to our Super Nomaniacs out there, all of you. The Naj, Plankster, Patty Laura, Jr. Mad love to all you guys. Just, going to kick back, chop it up here, talk a fair amount of Bears and where we're going and what we're doing and what is Ryan Poles going to do. But I'm just waiting for Myles Garrett to say that he's had just about enough of Cleveland. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm hoping that happens within the next week or so.
You know what? I was waiting until to have that conversation with Trip. I want to just BS around like what we drinking tonight. No maniacs. I see quite a few people that's watching the show, but live chatting right now. There's probably some my guy Trips just popped in. We're gonna get him in just a second. And it's a lot of people, it's people watching the show but not live chatting right now. So as we wait for people to file in and start chatting, man, we just gonna kick it. What we drinking on tonight? I got me some Don Julio, and that's what I'm sipping on tonight. That's it. So without further ado, let me bring my guy Triple R live from Maui. Up in the scene.
Jeez.
Hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Can see you, man. And can hear you.
Hello. Yeah. This is Chef Trips, live from Maui. Triple R was unable to make it. So as a representative from Sports Chicago Style, I am here as I drew the short straw.
How's the weather in Maui?
It is beautiful. I was able to do some reconnaissance and look for the Ryan Pauls and see if I could read his lips when he is talking on his cellular device. But I got a little distracted by some sexy stews from Emirates Airlines.
I bet you did.
And I have to keep my blinds closed as I have a poolside cabana, and how you say clothing is optional. So being that this is YouTube, I had to make sure to be safe.
So do you think Ryan Poles detected that you were there yet? Or you laying low key and undercover still?
I've been laying very low key, very under the covers.
Under the covers, huh? How's the drinks down there?
I also will pour myself a beverage that I am charging to the Sports Chicago Style credit for the mini bars. And I also have an order from room service coming soon.
Oh,
for a little light night snack. Because later on at the beach over by there will be a luau.
I'm very glad that you're wearing shorts. I'm super happy about that, Chef Trip. So how was it? Are you? Is this a home away from home? You in Maui? Did you fly down? What's the deal? Or are you just stalking Ryan Poles?
No, as I am doing, I don't want to say stalking because the federal authorities will stop me at the airport. But I heard that the Ryan Pauls was going to be here during the bye week, and I wanted to get some inside information on if there will be trades made, much like the Jets and the Raiders, or the Browns and the Bills have done.
So,
okay.
So are you seeing him doing a lot of activity on the phone, or is he not? Or are you having to do something to get him to pick up the phone? Is he ignoring the phone, or is he picking it up?
He is monitoring his device, but spending time with the family.
All right. That's Chef Trips down live from Maui, man. We got him live on location, keeping an eye on Ryan Poles, and hopefully sometime during the show, man, maybe we can get some breaking news. But if not, hey, check it. There's a lot of scenery down there, man. Hopefully you get your eyes full down there.
I must say that the locals, the young ladies, they have the caramel complexions and they are thick. If you're over 210, let your boy in.
Wow, I envy Chef Trips down there.
Wow. This whole thing caught me out of left field, yo. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to surprise you with my sexuality and my beautifulness. But as the Islanders do, they wear very little clothing, so I try to blend in.
Okay, yeah, when in Rome, right?
Or in Maui.
Or in Maui in this particular case. Rock and roll. I love it.
Triple R in literal paradise. Chef Trips in literal paradise down there. Hey, King Booker said no taco meat, man.
Shout out to King
Do
Booker.
not hate the player, hate the game.
Oh man, Chef Trips is a straight up trip.
One moment. That is my room service order.
Holy no.
Thank you very much. I will put your tip on the room.
Man, stuff like this. I usually roll with the punches, but you got me, dog. You got me.
Wow. So Trip, let me ask you a question, man. So what do you think Ryan Poles, in your opinion, since you're down there and you're monitoring the situation, What are your virtues, man? What would you like to see happen? Or is there an individual player that if Ryan Poles got the opportunity and Drew Rosenhaus made that call, who's that guy that you want him to pick up that phone for?
Well, I see that the fans on the social media are looking for the Myles Garretts or the Maxx Crosbys or the defensive ends. But as much as the Ryan Poles has spent on this defense with draft capital and the free agent acquisitions, I believe that offensive line depth would be more of a benefit to the team, especially with the Nate Davis being the healthy scratch and being the weak link on this line thus far. So an offensive lineman would be nice, but the suggestions of the 32 and 33-year-old players, I don't think that is Ryan Poles' field house. But if there is a young lineman who is due a new contract to maybe a team that cannot afford him, maybe then Ryan Poles can scoop in and be able to trade for that player. So I do not have a specific player in mind, but who knows? Because as they say, the power of Poles compels you, and he will kick the tires and look under every rock for any way to improve this team.
So I think this conversation should be had by all of us because, like me, I'm impressed with what they have along the defensive line. I'm pretty impressed with it. And I like the depth, the way it's developing now. I mean, from the interior, defensive line, and the guys on the edge. Plus, we got Jacob Martin coming in the 21-day window within the next game or so. I expect him to be out there probably after this bye, and I do like what he brings to the table. So, what I'm thinking is if Ryan Poles stands pat and doesn't do anything at the defensive edge position, I'm good with that because I think you got numbers and you got multiplicity in the different skill sets that you have. You got DeMarcus Walker that can play that edge, good run stopper. You've got, of course, you got Darrell Taylor, who's been showing us some pretty good flashes that we picked the right guy there. Plus, you got Jacob Martin, who you haven't seen all season long, who can bring similar or the same things to the table. So I think they've got a multiplicity of skill set at that position. And to be honest with you, unless we get some sweet ass opportunity or some deal that you can't pass up, it wouldn't bother me that Ryan Poles did nothing at the edge position, even with Maxx Crosby and Myles Garrett out there. But if the opportunity is too good to pass up, if the situation presented itself and we can get him for the right price, why not?
Well, it depends on what that price is.
Well, let's just say hypothetical, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is probably 7-8 years in the league. Good amount of wear and tear on him. I'd say you can't reach for higher than a third. What do you think about third?
But then how much is his salary cap?
That's a good, interesting point. The producer in the back, Nick, the producer, if you wouldn't mind pulling that up, if you got a minute, pull that up. Let's look at it. Let's look at it through those lenses. I think that's the best way to look at it. Is what are we getting ourselves into contractually? How many years are left on his contract? Should we even think about picking up something like that, or do we need to go to some lesser guys? I know some. I've got a screen to pull up later. I'll show you some guys that might come available under the circumstances. You pulling it up, kids?
You know I am.
But how's the pina coladas down there, Trip?
The pina coladas are the fresh with the beautiful.
I got it. I can pull it up.
But I also have a little salsa that I ordered from the room service, and it has a lovely pineapple flavor as well.
Man, you slumming it, Trips. They giving you salsa in a damn Tupperware, man.
That is okay because this room, I plan on getting freaky later, and I don't want too much of a bill with broken materials.
Wow.
Let's see what you got there, kids. Go ahead.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay, so 2024 cap hit 20 mil. That's pretty commensurate for what that guy deserves.
You want to take that little window down?
This guy here?
Yeah, get rid of that guy.
Sorry about that. So
what are we looking at?
I'm just okay. So he was drafted in 2020. It's like, just get the guy, just get Ryan, get Myles Garrett already. Damn it. Anyhow, so he's drafted in 2020 at age 25. Oh, he was a late guy. Oh,
so he's
a little bit older now. You know what I mean?
He wasn't drafted in 2020. He was drafted in 2018. No, I'm sorry,
drafted in 2018?
2017. He was pick 1 in 2017. That's when he got his contract.
Oh, okay. That's when he gets the first contract. So that's okay. Thank you for correcting that. You're right.
So that's his current age now is what, 29?
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting 14 a year.
For how many more years?
That's a good question. That's what we're trying to get to. What's left on his contract?
So he had a 5-year contract, 125 mil. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th year. Cap hit for this year is 20. Okay.
So is he in the last year of his contract?
Yeah.
Really?
I believe so. Potential out year 4. Yeah, this is last year of his contract.
So
it couldn't be better. It couldn't be a better situation.
Right. And so literally we'd be grabbing him for basically a 1-year rental and with the option to
1-year rental. It's Myles Garrett. What are you renting?
I'm just saying, literally, I'm just talking about technically that's what we'd be getting unless he came and they immediately decide to restructure the contract and give him an extension, right?
But the extension would be more than what they're paying the Montez Sweat because of his status. He's gonna require more than $35 million per year.
Yeah, he's a $1 billion% right there. Real talk, it's probably closer to 27, which is what I would try to aim for, maybe a big bonus. But the thing about Ryan Poles, and we saw that with who fell through. Trying to think who was the guy he was trying to get. Matthew Judon. Yeah, Matthew Judon trade fell through strictly because Ryan Poles was gonna. He was like, let's just sign the long term now. We get the long term now, sign it, and we move forward. Judon didn't want to do the long term situation with us. That was why he moved to where he wanted to go. I think if they're really winding up in contract negotiations by way of Myles Garrett, you do the contract immediately. There's no questions about what he can do on a football field. The only questions left with Myles Garrett is will he be healthy over the course of the next 5 years. Regardless, that's an up and down situation for anybody, at the age that he is, and he's still pretty young. I'd still throw the bag at the guy. Throw the bag.
Okay, so imagine what that's going to cost if he's getting $20 million a year now in his last year. So you got to give him at least a couple more $1 million.
Yeah, give him $7 million. Give him $7 million more. That's more than Montez Sweat. It's a good bump for him. I would like to think that's what I would do. I'd offer him 27.
But the thing is, as a free agent, how much more could he get on the open market?
Well, how much more could he get on the open market? That's a really good question. I don't know. I'm not sure who's out there and willing to pay him mad money. I'm sure there are suitors, right? I don't think 27 is chump change for an edge rusher.
No,
I wonder.
Well,
I wonder.
Not going to be one of the highest paid.
I think that might be close to that, though, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? If 25 was Montez Sweat, and that was leading the league a year ago. 27 isn't a far cry from that. It's definitely more than that. I'm trying to think of, like, did any major, let's see if we can find out.
I'll tell you what you about to find out?
I'm just going to take a quick search for the highest paid defensive end.
Because while you still had this up, I wanted to take a look at Wyatt Teller. That's a name that keeps coming up, but just keep that window up so you can pop back into it.
Holy smokes, bro. Jeez. All right, so like 27 it's not crazy. So here's the top guys. So the way that it breaks down, Myles Garrett is already at 25 per year, same as our guy Montez Sweat. Just the way that it sort of breaks down. 125, 5 years. They just broke it down differently. TJ Watt makes 28. He's, not an edge rusher per se, but, he's anyways. Brian Bird's 28 and 28 for Joshua Hines, but the highest is 34 mil per year for Nick Bosa and the 49ers. So
35 million. That's what I would assume that someone of his Myles Garrett status would want to be one of those $35 million a year players.
And so are you a green light on that or a red light on that, Chef?
I would say a red light, because that would be too many of the team resources on the defense when the offense still needs addressing.
That's too much sauce. I'm just saying, like, 35 mil for one guy is crippling. The team who's paying the guy that kind of money is also paying. San Francisco's also probably paying the most to running back as well as to wide receiver in the league. Like, they're spending ridiculous money over there. I don't know how they do this, but 35 mil for one human being in Chicago might be a little bit crazy. Now, I am going to say something else. Maybe Myles Garrett is trying to win a championship, though. And maybe he sees this as his opportunity to do so. And I'd like to think it might actually be his opportunity to do so, because this team has everything except for two things. And that is a linchpin left tackle and a linchpin left defensive end. That's what they're missing.
Before we go any further, do me a favor, King, if you still there, King Booker. Do me a favor, because things could be happening. Things could be happening right now as we speak. But we need someone to keep an eye on social media, on any breaking news that may or may not happen right now. Because as you all know, if you haven't heard, got Devontae Adams moved to the Jets. You've got what's his name? We got a couple moves out there.
Mari Cooper
to the Bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the lesser known moves was the guy that went from Jacksonville to he was playing with the Bears. I can't think of his name right now. Roy Robinson Harris. Yep. He went to help me out. Where did he go? They traded him off to Seattle. That was a great move for them. And so there's been a lot of other little moves, like what I'm hearing, just following the Detroit Lions podcast. They're hot on Hassan Reddick. And so it sounds like it's just a matter of maybe semantics and a few things that need to be agreed to on paper between the agent and the team and Hassan Reddick. But it sounds like, the last time I checked, it sounds like they might be pretty close to getting him inked up. And so that might be off the table if we were ever interested in him. But while we got this Cleveland Browns graphic up, can we look at Wyatt Teller, who's I think he plays right guard for them?
But as we pull that up, remember that in addition to the contract extension for the Myles Garrett, it would also cost the draft capital.
Yeah, probably no less than a third. Probably no less than a third. It could be a second. But if you think like the third, you can give it up blindly, right? But that second is a coveted pick. And if you give that up, you have to have some kind of assurances that you're going to be able to get him inked up long term. Because I don't think you just do that openly and just for 1 year give up a 2 for 1 year worth of service, and you're going to end up letting them go to free agency immediately. If you give away a 2 to get a Myles Garrett type of guy, you got to make sure you can get him inked, right?
Agreed.
So what we looking? We looking for Wyatt Teller?
Yeah, he on Cleveland?
Yeah, he's on Cleveland.
See him on this list, man.
Offensive lineman. He's there somewhere. Let me Google, make sure. I think he's with Cleveland. Keep looking. I'll Google. Let me see. Let me see.
It's all good. I got him. All right.
Right? It's Cleveland.
Yeah, I didn't see him in that list, but I got him here nonetheless. What do we got here? So he's 30 years old. He signed a $56 million 4-year deal with Cleveland in 2021. He's at the end of his deal as well, which is also a good thing. Both of these guys, him and Garrett, are at the end of their deals.
I thought he was on the injured reserve.
He was. Let me see what his status is now. He might be getting ready to be healthy.
It says he's not. Well, it says he's on the injured list as of right now.
I don't know if that's the best move in the world. For the Bears, we need help like right now. And I don't know what kind of intel they can get on his injury recovery. We don't necessarily know what kind of player we're getting right away. He could be one of those guys that still needs some time to get acclimated. But I know this, when he's right, Wyatt Teller is one of the nastiest son of bitches in the league. I know that about him. And a lot of the Nick Chubb yardage and the Nick Chubb, a lot of his accolades, you can probably say that the offensive line, well, you can't probably say, you can absolutely say they're largely responsible for his success. So the interior of that offensive line in Cleveland had an extremely stout team.
Would not their center be Pochich as well?
Ethan Posich as well. But I think they just got him re-signed. Ethan Postage, I think they just re-signed him.
You said center. Oh.
But the way that shit show in Cleveland is going, who knows what?
I think that's the beautiful thing about where we are. Question is, Trips, let me ask you this, man. I'm gonna ask you and Kedz the same thing. Remember when we were talking in the offseason about, okay, what if we get to week 7 when we get to that bye and we're real close to that trade deadline, which we're, I think, a couple weeks away from it. What if we get there with a winning record? Let's just say we were 4-2 or something like that. We were talking hypotheticals back then. And Ryan Poles sees his team on the surge. Do you think that he'd be a buyer at the trade deadline? I think we had a lot of other intangibles that were going on that would make us believe that, yeah, we will definitely need an edge rusher at the trade deadline. And that's before we got Darrell Taylor and we picked up Jacob Martin. So do you think, knowing where we are, do you think Ryan Poles has seen enough to be a buyer? Because this is what the real dog teams in the NFL do. When they get those opportunities and they see a team that they think that can win something, they get aggressive at this point in the season and they make moves. And so do you think he's seen enough to really go out there and be aggressive?
Well,
I think that the Ryan Poles, he may want to be aggressive, but the team around him at the Hallis Hall, they will keep him contained and still have resources going forward with this team and not give up too many draft picks and have to give up too many salary to go, as they say, all in for this year. So he may want to, but I think that the Ian Cunningham and the rest of the staff will stop it?
I don't know, man. Like it really, man. There's so many variables here, and the first variable is who and how much and what what's the compensation for the trade. So like if we're talking about a Myles Garrett instantly turns this like you're a Super Bowl team tomorrow, right? Like that's the difference. I would throw a 2 with that. I would throw a 2 with that, which is crazy for me to say, but I would throw a 2 with it and see what happens because Nomad, you actually brought this up yesterday, and it's I wasn't really thinking about it yesterday, and now I've had 24 hours, and now I've thought about it, and that's a competitive advantage. Fact of the matter is, you just brought up the lines and who they're looking at by way of Hassan Reddick. You can't just let those guys go and beef up and run ruckshod in the NFC North. Same token, you can't let the other 2 guys do either thing or anything at all either. You can't let any of those guys get an advantage now because what we've seen is every team in the North is real. So you might want to go grab the brass ring now.
That's why you guys. That's why I was. It's not that I think like I do think at the end of the day, Myles Garrett is for a lot of people a pipe dream.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, are we really going to go after the Myles Garrett? Like when you frame it in terms of what Kedz just said, talking about there's an arms race developing, and it's about who's going to get the weapons to win the war, because we're going to get into the meat of the schedule, and it makes the difference on whether or not we're going to be a playoff team or we just going to be some dudes that's just all right. It was nice to get a few wins here and there while these other teams snatch up these weapons and they go further in the playoffs. It's about that. It's about okay, are you gonna be one of the big boys here? And if this opportunity presents itself, are you gonna blink?
Well, I don't think they have a choice to not be a big boy, strictly given the status of the division this week. If you look at this week, who'd have thunk it though? You know what I mean? Like, who thought the Vikings would be leading the NFC North in Week 6 undefeated?
I still don't think that's real. By the way, I don't believe in them yet.
Hey man, first off, they don't want you to believe in them. They don't need you to believe in them. Second off, I don't believe them either. Put that right there with you. But yeah, those guys are on some. They're doing the darn thing. They're getting the job done, and if they continue with that trajectory, they're headed to the playoffs. I don't know. And then you look at the other 2 teams in the division. It is a true arms race in this division, and a wild card berth is not a given right now. So I think you go and you kick the doors in and you take that wild card berth. And like 2 days ago, I was on the other side of this. I was really suggesting to calm down and hold your draft capital for another year and things to that effect. But Myles Garrett, end of his contract. You got an extra 2nd round pick.
I think
way better deal than Chase Claypool. Like, I'm just saying, a way better deal.
I think there's another lens to look at it through too. You got a certain amount of years here within the next several years to, because most teams end up not doing certain things because they're handicapped by a big contract with the quarterback. Quarterback is really the really good teams have paying big money for big time quarterbacks. And right now you have a window to really be aggressive in certain areas because you're not paying a large sum of money to him. And really, really, until when Caleb gets signed to his next contract, if he gets signed to another contract, it's going to severely, you talking about handicap your roster trip. You're going to be severely handicapped. Now you're going to be in that role of you got to get these guys to the table. Can you take me a cut here? Can you do this? Adjust your contract so we can fit these other guys. Now you got extra work to do. Right now you got a window to get some guys on here and make some noise right now before you got that problem on your hand.
But
So
is defensive end or edge the more pressing position over offensive line help?
no, and that's what's interesting about this conversation, right? So let's all be real. And Joseph Archer, super no maniac Joseph Archer, shout out to you, bro. My guy says beef up the O line in capital letters, right? So he's right. The O line is the more the O line requires service. You know what I mean? It is the more pressing situation, and they should definitely address the O line. I'm not sure if you even let that be. I'm not sure if you let that be a detriment or an impediment to a Myles Garrett conversation. You just do that anyways. Like the fact of the matter is just what he laid down. They have the cap to do it. You don't have to pay the quarterback over the course of the next 4 years. Thus, you can pay him instead. And
Well, before you get
basically, you have the best. Like, I don't think there's a defense in the NFL that could. Good luck to offenses. You know what I'm saying? Like that is. I think the defense we have today is Super Bowl caliber. Put Myles Garrett on the other side, and this is a worldwide NFL issue. This is a problem for the NFL, right? So that's where I'm at with it. I would still do that. Meanwhile, what I would do with me, I would start looking at other teams to flip some of those guys who are riding the pine for that offensive line capital. So I was looking at the Raiders. And the Raiders need a running back.
I will give the Luke Yetzi Raiders beautifully slightly used Khalil Herbert or Davis Jones or DeMarcus Robinson or a Larry or Dylan Parham.
Or even a Jackson Powers Johnson who was drafted this year and has been riding the pine in backup capacity to the guy we sent over there, Cody Whitehair, which would be beautiful. Right? We wound up getting JPJ anyways, who could fill in as that future center because he's a center / guard. And that's what we were looking at earlier in the offseason. Now, do they want to let go of a kid they just drafted? Probably not so much, but ain't nothing really looking good over there. So do what you should do.
They have the new ownership with the Tom Brady's. So who knows what direction they will go, especially after trading the Devontae Adams and the city and fan base of the Las Vegas Raiders hating the Luke Yetzis.
Okay. There you go.
All right, man. You can cover up though, man, because you hurt my goddamn eyes, man. God damn, you hurt you putting a hurting on my shit. But listen, man, let's talk about the next big name. The next big name is Maxx Crosby. That's been going on the entire off season. And so Maxx Crosby, if anybody wants to pull that up before I pull up some other opportunities that we might have, some lesser names, and some there's a couple names I want to talk about, but let's just get that. There's two big elephants in the room, and Maxx Crosby is one of them. He's that second elephant in the room. Let's just see what we're dealing with here. Go ahead.
Okay, I got it. We're right there. So Maxx Crosby looks like he signed in 2022. He's in the third year of a 4-year contract, 4-year, $94 million contract. Average salary, $23 million a year. Potential out in 2025. So they don't like. They're at that point where you can't really get out of this contract without paying a pretty stiff penalty. Cap hit penalty, he's looking at a 39 mil dead cap if they move him. So
he's kind of stuck, ain't he?
Yeah, and that's really what I as soon as you said Maxx Crosby, that's the reality of the Maxx Crosby situation. They signed him relatively just a little while ago, right? They signed him. So yeah, it would cost them big money to get out of that situation. I just don't see them doing anything along those lines, even if they're rebuilding. I think the fact of the matter is they have to rebuild around Maxx Crosby. So, that's the Maxx Crosby situation.
They could move him if they want to absorb that hit, which I don't see a lot of teams being a whole lot willing to do that. But I mean, they could move him. It's just going to have to, if they really want to start over, which is what I think they end up doing. It's just, when do they come to that reality? Is it before or after the trade deadline? Do they actually really think they have a chance? And do they see him as that building block material to get this thing started all over again? I know for a fact, if I'm Maxx Crosby, I don't want to be a part of that. You got to look at that too. So you can think, just because you got a guy on your team that you drafted, you've given a contract to, you give him a lot of money, that eventually a real conversation needs to be had, one person across from each other, like, hey man, Max, this is probably going to be a rebuild situation. Do you feel like being a part of that rebuild, or what would you rather do? I think those are real conversations that needs to be had. And what it might cost him, it would almost be like, in order for him to be traded, he'd have to give them back some money, right?
Yeah, no, that none of those things can go.
That.
Nobody's doing these things. Like, the only way that what you're suggesting could come to fruition if somebody does something outlandish and they're like, hey, look, we'll give you 2 or 3 first rounders for Maxx Crosby. We give you 3 first rounders, which is like just
ain't nobody giving up first rounders.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're giving something outlandish here, that they can that would allow them to consider absorbing a $40 million cap hit. Yeah, sure. But outside of that, like, you wait till next year, right? You get rid of all the other big contracts on the team. You wait till next year, and then you come out of the Maxx Crosby situation with a $10 million cap hit. Worst come to worst, right? So it's only a year difference, where it's not astronomical. You know what I mean? But right now it's astronomical. So I don't, as loud as the Maxx Crosby chants are, and as big and true as the Maxx Crosby love is, I don't think it just wouldn't work here.
Yeah, you know what? I would be exactly where Chef Trips is, had I not known that Ryan Post was trying to move, mountains to get to Matthew Judon. Like, if I didn't know that information, I'd be like, oh, this is a pipe dream. Every last bit of it. Maxx Crosby, Myles Garrett, all that shit's a pipe dream. But then we know for a fact that they were going after that other edge rusher, the big time edge rusher on the other side, and Matthew Judon. So we know the tendency and the want to is there. Now, are they satisfied with what they have in Darrell Taylor and Jacob Martin at this point? We don't know, man. I'm pretty sure they like what they have, but who's to say?
It's just that's not the point. You know what I mean? I like Jacob Martin. Ain't nothing wrong with Jacob Martin, and I can't wait to see him on the field prove that, right? I think Darrell Taylor's done a fantastic job in the position. No knock to him. I like Austin Booker, and I want to see more of him. But the fact of the matter is, Myles Garrett on that line. If Myles Garrett is they would be the most disgusting defense ever assembled in Chicago. And what I just said is a big thing. Like, that's a huge thing to say in Chicago, yo. This might be the most disgusting defense ever assembled.
All right, I think it's crazy to think about, but let's
I'm sure somebody in Chicago wants to punch me right now. But like, I'm. Bro,
it's a lot of, trust me. You go on Twitter, man. People will be cussing you out right now.
I guarantee you. But I'm just saying.
Shit, Brendan wrote me into some shit and got me almost cussed out, but I had to explain. But let's look at some of these opportunities right here. Here's a name right here, Azeez Ojulari. One of those. See, that's what I'm talking about. So. These are names that just came that are being talked about. These are sources that are saying these guys might be available in trade. Azeez Ojulari.
Who is he? What position does he play?
He's an edge rusher / linebacker. So he's definitely an edge rusher if you need that role to be filled. See, the thing is, he's very good. But now they have Brian Burns, and now they have what's the other guy they got out of Florida State last year?
Thibodeau?
Giants.
Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau. So that makes him the odd man out. So what? Let's just do. I'm gonna take the screen down, kids. If you want to pull up Azeez Ojulari and look at what he's got going on, what his contract might be, I will take this down and we'll look at that because I think this is a very, very, very interesting name out there on that trade market right now. I think that's not too expensive. You know what I mean?
I would think that a player like this that I'm not exactly familiar with, but this type of talent, and if not that expensive, that is just below the radar and not on the starting front four of this current team is kind of Ryan Poles' wheelhouse. He looks for the underutilized talent and being able to bring them in.
Yeah. Azeez Ojulari, when he's right, can you pulling his information up?
You know I am. And there it is. So Azeez Ojulari signed a 4-year, $6 million contract with the Giants. That was in 2021. He's in 2024. Now his cap hit is minimal. Look at that. Like, yeah, okay. Like this ain't no. I'm just gonna be.
You got to read it out. Everybody can't read that.
Okay. All right. So in 2024, his base salary is 1.5 mil. Cap hit 2 mil. 2,155 and change. Dead cap hit 571,802. So, like, here's the point.
How old is he?
He's not old. He is 24. He's a young guy. Fact of the matter is,
and what year is he into his contract?
He's in the 4th year.
He's in the last year of his contract.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that Ryan Poles goes after.
Okay.
Those
so this doesn't move the needle, though. Like, what makes this guy any better than a Darrell Taylor or a
DeMarcus Walker?
Thank you, or DeMarcus Walker or Jacob Martin.
He's 6'3", he's 6'3", 240. He's another fastball.
Like, those guys are built very similar to the other. Like, that's basically the same build as the other two guys, though. No?
I'm just saying. I mean, he's out there. Azeez Ojulari, they hunt those guys that they think have high upside, that are young in the last year of their contract, looking for that second contract. We've heard that being stated over and over again. We can give our own synopsis of what we think of that player and whether or not we think he can be somebody that can really help. But you got to look at how they're looking. They're looking at these guys long term. We get this guy on the roster, and you just don't know, man. So that's interesting information to know that he's in the last year of his contract. To me, it just made him a little bit more. He just basically raised my eyebrow a little higher. So
he would cost no more than like a 5th or 6th rounder.
Yep.
You'd send capital for this guy? Why?
Hell, you got when you get done with the show, go pull up Azeez Ojulari's tape and you'll see. Azeez Ojulari ain't no fucking joke when he's right.
But, like, how much of an upgrade from the other two, from the other 3 guys, do you think this guy is that you want to spend capital on him?
That's a fresh conversation that I think might make for a good podcast. Because
I thought we were on a podcast, but I guess we'll leave that alone.
I think it's a long ass conversation, man. I think it's a long ass conversation. I've seen tape on all of them. I know exactly what we'd be getting. He's very strong for a guy 240 pounds.
So let me be more direct then. Obviously, if we really want to get into the nuance of it, I'll avoid all that. For me, I wouldn't. To me, I think you already got two of him in Martin and Darrell Taylor. Both of those guys are awesome, and they should be satisfied at that position with both of those guys.
Point only if you think you're going to keep them.
Say that. Do I think
only if you think they're going to keep those two guys?
Well, they signed them in some capacity, right? They're here, and I assume they're going to be here for at least this year and next. They're signed, and they're signed at a decent rate. So I wouldn't really go looking to replace them. But again, this might be an upgrade for rotational purposes, in my opinion. Again, I don't want to take anything away from Azeez Ojulari because I know he's actually really good. I would just be looking for the world destroyer on the other side. That's what you need. You need a world destroyer on the other side, and everything changes.
I'll tell you this. I'll just tell you this because I know you haven't probably studied a whole lot of Azeez Ojulari. When you look at the film, I'm gonna just see what you think after that. But we'll just leave that there. Let's look at some other names.
Well, what is his issue? Has he been hurt, or what is the problem?
He just got replaced, right? So they decided to upgrade at the position. They brought in Brian Burns. This guy's now a rotational piece. So yeah, he'd make a great rotational piece, but we need a Brian Burns. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
who's next on the list?
Then let's look.
Say again.
Let me make sure I got to the top. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Let me look down. That's Deontay Johnson from the Panthers. He might be on the blocks. I think we're good on that.
Yeah, I think we're all right by way of wide receiver.
There's some interesting names that's coming up. Zach Wilson, Daniel Brunskill, offensive lineman from the Titans. Robert Woods, receiver. Harrison Bryant, another tight end. Traylon Burks, very interesting name. But let's keep going. Deontay Johnson. Bryce Young, his name has come up now. It's unfortunate for him, but you can see that might be a real possibility.
Whew!
That's crazy. Mike Williams. Dude, Aaron Rodgers, I hope he kicked Aaron Rodgers' ass. Did you see that shit I'm talking about, Trip?
You mean the pass where Aaron Rodgers said that he was supposed to go this way, but he went that way, and so he was throwing that way, and it was all Williams' fault.
And you don't throw your teammate under the bus out in the public like that. You put the blame on yourself. That's modus operandi when you're a teammate. You don't fucking do that.
But we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and his ayahuascas and his darknesses, and no.
He's definitely getting traded because he ain't gonna put up with that bullshit talking. You ain't gonna throw me under the bus. You just brought in Devontae Adams, put me on the trade block, and let me the fuck out of here. Because if you put me back in the locker room with him, I'm a black as fucking eye. That's probably
well. They said that he is away from the team for personal reasons.
Yeah, I'll beat his ass. Straight up. You don't throw your teammate under the bus. Another slot corner. We're slot corner kind of rich, kind of. So Jonathan Jones, don't see it.
You just keep on scrolling there, brother. Ain't no need in that secondary.
Now here's an interesting name. Offensive tackle for the Jaguars, Walker Little. And so I'm going to take my screen off and let Kedz do his work on the searching out Walker Little. Let's see what and we're talking about the trenches, man. We need to beef up in the trenches. He's an offensive tackle. Let's see what he's worth out there. I bet you nobody's ever heard of it.
No, that's a good thing. If you don't know who the offensive tackle is, that means he's doing his job.
Walker Little, Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. I'm going to take my screen down. I think anybody by now still looking at Braxton Jones as our long-term answer at left tackle, you probably smoking something. I think he's getting the job done for now, but Lord, that dude can leak when he wants to, can he? The same problem he's been having, he still has now.
Well, look, and again, he's a 5th-round pick. He's a developmental pick. We can only expect what we can't even really. You shouldn't have even really got what you got out of this guy. So kudos to Braxton Jones for doing what he's done thus far in that position, and hopefully again he continues to grow in that role. Fact of the matter is, I think right now we do need a little bit more at the left tackle spot. So if we're talking about Walker Little signed a contract in 2021. He was 22 at the time. He's now 25 in 2024. Signed a 4-year contract for $7.6 million.
When did he sign it?
That was in 2021. This is the final year of his contract. Dead cap here is $725 million. Sorry, $100. Pardon me. So cap hit is
another guy that probably be right up their alley.
There's absolutely no reason why you don't get a guy like this. I'm just being frank here. He's coming off a contract. You can, if they're willing to get out of the Walker Little situation, because clearly they're going to have to pay him again. If a $7.5 million contract was good for him at that time, you pay him a little bit more, and you throw him a 6 or a 7 for the trade, and away you go. Right?
Is he a starter?
Say again?
Is he a starter?
I believe so. I don't watch Jaguars football, that's for sure. So let's see if I can find out if he's a starter or not.
I'm pretty sure he is.
And left tackle?
Yeah.
That seems quite inexpensive for a starting left tackle.
Inexpensive it is.
That's because he's going into the last year of his contract. They ain't gonna, until they commit to him, he's gonna be making money like that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
This would be his big contract situation. I'm not sure if he's played into a big contract. I kind of doubt it given the situation over in Jacksonville anyways. But if he's good, the numbers are solid. Best I can sort of say there.
Actually, no, he's a backup to Cam Robinson, who I don't think is playing right now. Cam Robinson might be hurt, but I don't know that. But he's probably a backup. And they've got Javon Foster, who they just drafted out of, I think, Oklahoma. And so that's why his name is popped up on the radar.
You got it. He is a backup to Cam Robinson. So Cam, 3 years, $54 million. That's a big contract they have invested in that particular position.
Javon Foster is going to end up being the guy.
Potential out in 2024 for Cam Robinson, though, lads. $4 million dead cap. If they want to spend $20 million on a left tackle, I just don't know how.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what kind of quality we're getting either.
You know what I'm saying? Is he a quality left tackle in that respect? Given again,
he just popped up on the radar, and I'm taking a look. All right, so it would be relatively inexpensive right now.
It would be a deal that they could do. You know what I mean? It would be a deal that they could pull off. He's semi-available. Jacksonville may be looking to get out of his big contract right now if they're thinking about, shaking things up at all. So, yeah.
All right. Let's go back on the hunt. Let's look at some of these other names. Pull that down. Let me look. There's just a couple of names so far. Let me see here. Greg Newsome, corner. Greg Newsome is extremely tough. I don't think we're in the cornerback market at all.
Bro, and the backups are picking the ball off. I think we're good in the corner market.
The deal isn't done in Detroit, from what I know so far. The deal isn't done in Detroit. Is Hassan Reddick being listening to other offers from other teams. Are the Bears one of those people he's listening to offers for? I don't know. Hassan Reddick is an interesting conversation.
But I think they said that the Jets would have to give up a second-round pick if the Reddick was traded to the NFC team.
Is that right?
AFC team would not cost that much.
Is that right? I haven't heard.
That was a stipulation in the trade clause with the Eagles.
Is that if he gets traded back to the NFC?
Yes, if the Reddick was traded to a NFC team, there was a clause from the trade between the Jets and the Eagles that the Jets would have to give up a second-round pick.
Okay. Yo, without question, Howie Roseman's the best GM in the damn league, bro.
He hamstrung those motherfuckers.
What do you mean you don't want to play there? Oh, we sending you there anyways, bro. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just make sure they can't send you anywhere near back over here. You send me a number 2 in case. That's
all right. So this Buda Baker. All right,
stop looking at the damn secondary, man. Stop it.
Listen now. Y'all got to bear with me for a second.
Oh man.
Until the recent concussion status of Jaquan Brisker, I would never entertain this.
Stop entertaining it.
Second concussion.
Huh?
This is his second concussion.
Yeah, you got when you're missing games and you can't pass the protocol. Guess what? You got to start thinking about options.
Yeah, they got Elijah Hicks and they got.
I'm just putting it out there, man.
Jonathan Owens, they got options, bro. That's an expensive option they do not need.
D-Hop,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Ain't gonna happen. D-Hop's old now.
He's not getting it done over there, but he could get it done here at this point.
Ojolari, and that's it. I think. Let's go. All right, let me go back. Hold on. What the hell is that all about?
Oh my.
All right. We're talking about deadline teams, trades, and fits, right?
You are correct.
Hassan Reddick. Let me look. Okay. So we got to go by position. Y'all want to look at the offensive line?
Sure.
All right. So we got edge, DT, linebacker, DB, quarterback, receiver, running back. I don't even see. Let's see DT. Let's look at that.
Black Diamond's telling you Buddha's washed. I disagree, Black Diamond. I don't think Buddha washed, but I don't think we need to spend big Buddha bucks. Is what I'm trying to say.
This is wild.
Did you see that we re-signed the Chroma and let go of the Todd Bells?
Yeah. We did touch on that the other day. Jamry Chroma's back at it, and unfortunately Travis Bell is balling elsewhere. But I have a feeling, especially because this is bye week, I'm really glad he's out there in Maui with you, Chef Trip, man, just taking some R&R and R. Sorry. Getting his relaxation on. Thank you. He's getting his relaxation on because I feel like he's going to get back into town and he's going to do some damage here just because he has the opportunity to do so. And he's got a bunch of folks coming back from IR and a bunch of folks who are sitting on the bench. So I expect there to be some kind of shakeup and potentially some additions.
So far, Hassan Reddick and possible teams, they're saying the Lions, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. I don't know why the Cardinals would be interested in that, but, who knows? But let's keep going. As you can see, the Bears aren't in that conversation. Devin White, linebacker for the Eagles.
He got cut.
Bills, Patriots, and Raiders. I can see the Bills being in. I can see that happen in Buffalo.
They kind of need it.
Definitely can see that happening in Buffalo. Miles Sanders, what happened to you, sir? What happened to you? Raiders, Chiefs. I can see the Chiefs here. I can definitely see the Chiefs here. And Bengals, they're good. Number 30 is tough. But I can definitely see the Chiefs making a move. I don't know if he's good enough for them right now. Valus Jones, who's interested? He's gonna disappoint the shit out of me when he goes somewhere.
Why?
Because you ain't got no sense.
I got all kind of sense. We've been through this. It's okay.
Okay, man. We ain't finna get into that long ass conversation. I ain't with it tonight. Traylon Burks, not interested. Robert Woods, of course. Let me see who else comes up. Azeez Ojulari again. I'm telling you, you gotta look at some tape. So interested would be the Jets. I could see if they ended up trading Hassan Reddick to the Lions, I can see that move happening right afterwards. The 49ers definitely need some extra pass rush help. And the Bucks, I wouldn't say do either, but they can get a little stronger in that department. It won't hurt them.
But now also, if you look at the teams that would trade for the Hassan Riddicks, the Detroit Lions have recently spent a lot of money in contracts. Can they afford to give him a long-term deal as well?
That's a good point. They just re-signed. They just signed up Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who else did they sign recently?
The defensive tackle.
I think they even re-signed David Montgomery recently too.
And the Makeem, the defensive tackle, the big guy.
Hey, this guy might be on the market too. I think the Rams are through out here. They could make. I
heard a rumor that the Giants were possibly trading for the Matthew Staffords, but they wanted to send Daniel Jones, and the Rams said no, we do not want Daniel Jones.
All right, let's see what's going on Twitter. We might be having some breaking news going on. Who knows? See what Twitter's got.
Danny Jones.
See what Twitter's got going on.
What is his name? Akeem, the defensive tackle for the Lions. It's like 4 letters, and it's like Kim something.
Kimchi?
No, that is a food.
That's you would know. Where is for the Lions? You're saying
somebody in the Nomadiacs. Who is the defensive tackle for the Lions that just got their new contract?
You're talking about Aleem McNeil.
Aleem, there we go.
Aleem.
Hey, I'm just loving seeing Lonzo Ball back on the floor though.
We see how long that will last.
Oh, y'all can't see. Y'all couldn't see that. Lonzo Ball is out there, y'all.
That is Mr. Glass.
All right, I'm just looking to see if we got any news going on that we don't know about. Give me a minute to look around into the Dragon. Yeah. Let me see. Not seeing a lot going on. When Twitter ain't in an uproar about something, that means it's a quiet night on the Western Front. What a piece of crap. He just threw his dude under the bus. Just threw his guy under the bus like that.
He ran the wrong damn route.
Smokes. Yeah, man. The Aleem McNeil deal is huge. $97 million 4-year deal, $55 million guaranteed. Damn, that's pretty big, man. I'm not sure if they will have that kind of Hassan Reddick money floating around.
I'm gonna have to cuss Lauren Cox out because I bet you he watched our show last night and decided to go.
Hassan Reddick from the New York Jets. Any trade you make has to be for the next 5 years, not the next 10 games. That's why the trade for Montez Sweat last year at the deadline made so much sense. It was a trade for the long-term future. And so when I see Chicago Bears fans daydreaming about, say, Hassan Reddick from the New York Jets, that doesn't fit the type of player that the Chicago Bears would want to go after at a trade deadline. Yes, he's looking for a long-term contract extension, but also Hassan Reddick is 30 years old. That's not ancient in NFL terms, but when you talk about a guy in his prime, he's nearing the end of it. Any trade you make has to be for the next 5 years, not the next 10 games.
Memo to Lauren Cox. I'm going to send you an invite to the show just to eat your lunch. Just so you know. We're going to have a good show, but I'm going to eat your lunch. But let's look and see what's going on.
That sounds personal.
Lonzo, man, I'm so glad to see that guy on the court, man. So glad. All right, it doesn't look like it's a whole lot going on this front. Hold on. I'm looking, waiting till something tells me to get the fuck off this site. Holy crap, what was that? Let me see. Politics. Nobody want to see all that. Oh, it was a lot. It was a fucking fight that went on right in the stands while he was getting interviewed. You fucking started scrapping right there. Why don't people know how to act when they go to stadiums no more, man? Can you explain that to me?
Because we live in the generation of the entitlement and privilege and very short tempers and not knowing how to deal with other people.
So Marquez Valdez-Scantling got cut.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was
with Buffalo, right? They had to make room for the
for Amari Cooper. He was like the bottom end of that Amari Cooper deal.
Yeah, that had to happen. They were expecting a little bit more out of him, and they didn't get it. And that's basically what that was all about. So they needed to reach. I thought that was a hell of a deal. I think that's a hell of a move for them. You got Amari Cooper, you got Shakir, what's his name? Khalil Shakir, and you've got Keon Coleman, who you're bringing up and developing. I think it's a good move for them. Let me stop.
I ain't got nothing negative to say about it. That's for sure. Amari Cooper is he's a quality wide receiver. He just needs to be in a quality situation. Hasn't been this last little while.
All right, so let's talk about this, Chef and Kedz. It's a lot of talk out here, and and I think, to be honest with you, I think Bears fans need a crutch. Most of the Bears fans need a crutch. They need give them a reason to say, okay, don't get too excited. Here's my reason. Here's my crutch as to why not. A lot of people are pointing to the strength of the schedule. We've been playing teams that they don't think are that good. And so we got a winning record against teams that aren't that good. So now you got this conundrum going on around the fan base. It's like, and I ain't going to say it doesn't make sense, because truth be told, the meaty part of the schedule that's really, really competitive is coming. You know what I mean? We talking about our division and things like that. I think those are going to be the toughest games ever. Now, a lot of people don't want to give us credit for that, and they want to kind of like, all right, don't get too excited. Y'all just beat this team, that team, that team, and that team. Stop tripping. Y'all ain't that good yet. How you feel about that, Kedz and Trip?
Go ahead, Kedz.
Oh, okay. I was gonna throw it over to you, but no problem. Fact of the matter is, this is the weak part of the schedule. So I'm gonna agree with the rest of the world a little bit, but I'm also going to tell the rest of the world to sort of chill, because these are NFL football teams. They're not, you know what I mean? They're still professional football teams that these guys are playing against, and they're winning some games. Fact of the matter is, this is still just development, right? We got a luxury schedule this year. Beginning of the schedule is a little bit light, allows this team to grow into what it's supposed to be by the time things actually start to get tough. So first 6 games, 4 wins, 2 losses, things to learn, and now they can excel on what they've learned, right? That's basically where we are, man. They just need to go through the rest of this development, and hopefully by the time we start to get to those real teams, quote unquote, the gamut towards the end of this season, right through the NFC North Division, these guys need to be ready. So, appreciate what you have by way of schedule, because I think this is what really will give the Bears that education to get to the postseason.
I also believe that many of the fan base are not overly excited, but almost overly excited because this defense is championship caliber, and nobody has seen the numbers as a rookie quarterback that the Caleb Williams, or as Trips calls him, Gizmo, has been very good as a rookie and putting up good numbers. So I think the Midian fan base think that if the offense can find its footing in these first few games, by the time we hit those divisional games after the bye, that it will be tougher, but they will have better footing on the offense, and the defense is what it is.
And to be quite honest with you, I think most people, when you outside looking at this situation with the Bears, I think we so entrenched in it that we see it. I can't speak to that really, to be honest with you, but I believe that it's a lot of people that think that we are so up close to the situation and so up close to the action that we can't see a wider lens, like a macro view of, they don't think we're being sensible looking at this team the way we are. I can look at this team and tell, I can literally tell that whatever we've seen thus far, it's like baby food compared to a whole fucking Thanksgiving dinner that's waiting to happen. That's just because I know where we are. And I'm talking about on the offensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, looking at the amount of plays they've gotten out of that playbook versus what I know that's still left over, the players they haven't folded into the mix and made real viable. They're just expanding. And so no matter what you see now, it's nothing to compare to what you're gonna see. No matter what
I
it is.
believe that is why the Tyler Scott has not been playing yet, because those deep, long field passes and that part of the game has not been incorporated yet.
Yeah. I mean, he's still trying to get his timing down with the deep passes. We saw a decent one this week, but not that's probably the main thing that people that want to.
There should be some concern.
But the part of the issue is also that the offensive line has not been stable enough to protect the Caleb Williams long enough for those deeper routes to develop, to give him enough reps to get that timing in live game situations.
It's a very, very valid point, sir. Like for me, that is where the concern with Caleb Williams lies. I think that's a fair concern. What's actually exciting me, though, are these crazy tight window throws he made this past game. He's making some center of the field, double covered, tight window placements, back shoulder or, low to the ground where nobody else can get at it. And he's nailing them. And that's impressive to me. I have to laud the kid for that, as much as we're giving him a little bit of heat for that deep ball. And eventually I think that'll come into fruition. But maybe that's a better reason as to why we haven't seen a Tyler Scott on the field or a Velus Jones, for instance. I think maybe those two things might not be in sync right now by way of that deep pass.
To your point, kid, let me pull this up. And I'm gonna point out a few things in here. I'm gonna turn this down so that we don't have to listen to all of this, but check this out.
At BetMGM, everyone gets a welcome home.
We're just gonna look at the highlights. We're not gonna listen to it. I'll stop it here and there. Let me see. I gotta rewind that back. All right, here we go. And so we got what we looking at. We're looking at a RPO. Let's see what happens on this play. This is when he got that face mask call and they didn't call it. If you watch it close, he got a face mask inside here. He was about to run. Got grabbed. You see it?
Yeah.
So that was on third down. You can get away from that. I'm just looking at some highlights. I think this is the first series. It was kind of moving the ball pretty good on us.
Oh, we don't want to watch this. That first series was great for Jacksonville. I really got to say, they marched the ball right down. Thank goodness for this defense for keeping it real, but they marched the ball right down on us.
Don't worry about it. We about to come out for our second drive. Some of the throws you were talking about, Kedz, is in here.
I'm just saying, there's some zing passes.
Oh, look at that. See, that was some bullshit right there, Caleb. You got to get the fuck on the ball, dude.
Yeah, I hope somebody kind of yelled at him for it, but if you look, he doesn't know where it is.
Oh, he knows where that ball is. He just didn't get in the scrum. He knows where that ball is.
I don't think he did, man.
He just didn't get down. He thought that play was dead, and that's why he didn't go down. He looked right at that fucking ball. But that's some shit he would get chewed out for it. Okay, we're gonna get past.
I was a little afraid when I saw the Caleb Williams go shoulder first when he was trying to score, but was still too far from the end zone.
I liked it. You know, sometimes you gotta
I like the desire, but I don't like the quarterbacks going head first like that.
I agree with you. I will just say that it was like a conscious decision that he did it. Normally he's sliding, you know what I mean? And we've seen a lot of the slide. If that was the regular modus operandi when he was running, I'd be a little bit more worried, right? But
I think he knows what he's doing.
I do too.
He's got better instincts, you know what I mean, for what to do in a given moment. I ain't too much worried about it.
Yeah, I agree.
He has been much smarter than the Anthony Richardson types when running the ball, and has doing his slip and slide.
Yeah, yeah. That was a good investment. Gotta get me one of those.
Nice dump off.
I do not know that you have the weight to handle it.
You're probably correct. Might be a slip aside accident.
This is that play. This is that.
This is just that beautiful, you know. So Shane Waldron is
first fake wide bubble zone. I mean bubble screen. He's gonna come back and go right with it, fake it right, and boom boom.
There was a side-by-side that the San Francisco 49ers had previously run that exact same play.
Oh, really? George Kittle?
I've seen that.
I'm not sure who the receiver was, but there was the fake, and then the pass.
Trip, I've seen that. Not only have I seen San Francisco do it, I've seen Kansas City do it for sure, and I've seen Matthew Stafford and the Rams do it. It's very
copycat league.
Yeah, it's nothing new at all.
Oh.
But that was a hell of a play, though.
As long as it works.
I think the timing of it was more better than anything I can think of.
Well, but now that also the linebacker, he was confused, didn't know which direction. But now that it is on tape, they will stay at home more, hopefully opening up the bubble screens or the screen that way, because the linebacker now cannot just come up on it. He has to stay at home to guard against the tight end.
All right, let's see here. Again, start getting into some of them nice passes Kedz is talking about. This is one right here. Watch this.
Probably why Caleb is comfortable in this set. Williams over the middle. There's Roma Dunze.
Just perfectly thrown in the hole.
He takes it to midfield. At this point, after a slow start, another quick throw.
Yeah.
And
that's one.
It's a BB.
Yeah.
It's a BB. But this is regular NFL shit, man.
There is none other than DJ Moore. Just need to throw that out there with the Lions and Cowboys playing later. Play fake. All kinds of time. There's DJ Moore.
This is the college shit I'm talking about.
Oh, why the heck did we watch
You gotta
that?
know that you gotta put more zip on this ball to get it over, and into that spot a whole lot faster than that. So the arc and trajectory on that
Do me a
ball.
favor, rewind the pass, please.
I'm
Scroll
about
back a little bit. Yeah, let's watch this again.
The Lions and Cowboys playing later. Play fake. All kinds of time. There's DJ Moore. And it's
Kedz, he's getting away with that 9 times out of 10 in college.
That's terrible.
But something that this young quarterback has done, he has very rarely made the same mistake twice. He seems to learn from his mistakes and his misses and correct them with a very short memory.
Well, that is very important because I'm sure he's going to get cussed out about a couple of things here. And the first thing is he really stared down the receiver there, right? And that does not help when you're now going to loft the ball. And if you look at the way that his throwing motion on that particular throw, very slow, right? So all kinds of time for the defender to stare where he's staring and run underneath that pass. So next time around, he'll nail it
because he had plenty of time and protection in the pocket.
He's got a strong arm. This one, period.
Yeah, you just got to nail that one. Boom, DJ's open. We knew he would be. Bang.
That was 2 lackadaisical, but that's NFL and college, and he's got to learn that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to throw too many more of those. Trust me.
But that's what this season is for. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to be real about that. That's what this season is for. I want him to get all that crap out of his system, and by this time next year, he'll really be doing the darn thing. But let's be real, guys.
The reason, another reason why the Hassan Riddicks would not make that sense, because this is, while in the rookie quarterback pay scale, it is still a learning season. And so do not expend too many expenditures and resources on the defensive side of the ball, especially with a high round pick, when we could draft a high round edge rusher who can still be a game record, and not spend the money and the draft capital to sign somebody for this season while the offense is still taking the baby steps.
Nice run here.
I do this Garrett thing, man. I'm just saying. I would do that. I would do it. It's so funny because we're at that part where things start to look a little bit like Mitch Trubisky, Khalil Mack. The difference being this guy's starting to stack games. Right? He's starting to stack good games. He's starting to stack.
Kedz, you know what I don't like, man?
What?
I'll tell you guys what I don't like. And it's usually when I look at Twitter. I don't like it's like a lot of people, Trips is just tight like that. And I know I know he doesn't come with that kind of energy, but there's a lot of dudes that really do that make they make their name for themselves on Twitter, I guess being a GM on the sidelines, and they like to gatekeep whether or not, it's prudent for polls to spend this money on that. And then they hang on to it for months and months and years. And once he spends that money and he decides, let's just say he sees Myles Garrett like I see Myles Garrett. Like, I think Myles Garrett's a one-on-one. It's like there's one Myles Garrett and the motherfucker is powerful. And I mean, it's like you ain't no more Myles Garrett's out there. And he's a guy that can absolutely take over a game. And you've got another guy like that on the other side of that. Combine those two. And so when you get done gatekeeping what you think the Bears should do or shouldn't do with their money, I respect it. I'm just thinking that maybe everybody's not thinking exactly the way, these NFL executives might be thinking, how they see these players. Because Myles Garrett's a fucking monster.
I don't know what gates there are to keep right now by way of dollars and cents. The gate to be kept is, you need to have cap to pay more, like other important players on the team. Well, who are they? So like let's look at things for real. The guy that you need to pay is your quarterback. You don't got to pay him for another 4 years. So there's that. You might have to pay a Tevin Jenkins. Might being the operative word.
Find me another person. Like I think Montez Sweat's a one-of-one. I don't think there's nobody in the league like Montez Sweat. Now you add Myles, find me another motherfucker. Anything like Myles Garrett, you'd have to really work. You know, there's other guys that get it done in different ways. You got your Micah Parsons of the world, which Jerry Jones will be in his casket holding on to Michael Parsons' hand. He ain't giving that motherfucker up. Trust me when I tell you that. He loves Michael Parsons and he will not part with him. But you got to start thinking about somebody like that has impact on a game like this that we've seen recently. You got to start thinking about people like Aaron Donald. Like those are that's the kind of impact game record that Myles Garrett can be.
Yeah. He's your Khalil Mack, bro. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
And people just like easily say, "Oh no, it's going to cost too much money." Whose fucking money is it?
Yeah, it's not my money, it's not yours, and it's not theirs. And the reality here is Ryan Pace, not Poles, Ryan Pace had the right idea. The idea was you reset the clock with the quarterback, you bring him to a place where he's stacking games and things look good. You have the quarterback of the future. You don't have to pay him. You get your linchpin defense with both anchors at defensive end and let them loose. And that's what was happening. Unfortunately, the offensive side of the ball couldn't hold their end of the bargain. He didn't wait long enough to determine whether Trubisky was the guy before he pulled the trigger on Khalil Mack. I think we've had a few games.
I thought that was a pipe dream too, kids.
No, like what's really funny about that is I sat back. I actually called that one.
I'm talking about the rest of the fan, like most of the fan base. They probably thought that was a pipe dream.
Well, it was a pipe dream until it became a pipe reality for $100+ million and a couple of first-round picks. But if it all worked out, if Trubisky actually worked out on offense, like that would have been a serious situation. Right now, we're seeing things work out on offense. We need a little bit more, and I agree with Bears fans. We need to sort of watch this kid and this offense flourish and continue to stack positive outings. If they can, then all the more reason to go and throw $30+ million at Galactus, like friggin' Thanos. You know what I'm saying? Now you have that one guy on that one side who is just a destructive force by himself. We have that in Montez Sweat. And if you have two of them,
I've seen kids. I've seen a few guys in the last several years, Khalil Mack being one of them.
Yep.
My guy, Eric, I remember when the talk was going on around, he was in my Facebook little group, and my guy Eric, he said to me, and because I was just like, man, I was kind of like, most of the Bears fans are right now about spending money. I'm just like, I don't know about all that. And I'm like, I don't know that he's going to be the thing that makes a difference. And he told me, he is just like, and he's not a football player like me. He's like, I'm shocked to hear you say that because you're a football player. And I've literally gone to the stadiums where he's played, and I've watched that guy literally take over games by himself. He's going to absolutely change our fortunes the minute he gets here. And that's kind of guy we're talking about with
Garrett.
He will absolutely put the game on his shoulder.
Honestly, this is quite frankly the team that I saw coming down the tubes. For us, including Garrett, I think he would be the grandest possible addition to this team. And I think the entire NFL is on notice if you make a move like that. And the real upside is it's not really a crippling move, right? They've got room to move by way of finances to do this and still bolster like, and still bolster the offensive line. Like, look at some of the guys we looked at today. The dollars and cents around a Wyatt Teller or like who else did we look at today? But like the offensive linemen we looked at today weren't commanding extreme dollars and cents, with the slight exception of Cam Robinson. If he becomes truly available, he is at the end of his contract. And even a Cam Robinson in that respect is definitely a doable situation when you also factor in the fact that they're likely not to keep a Nate Davis next year, and that's going to free up an additional $10 million for next year's cap, right? Like,
I would not be upset with the deal, but in thinking the way that the front office would think, I don't not see them make this move. But I know personally, in my Madden franchise.
Let me take Trip out for a second.
Oh.
Trip, you gotta reboot or something, because you absolutely froze out on us. If you can hear me, reboot. Trips, if you can hear me.
Yeah, looks like he's Chef Trips will be back with us live from Maui. Looks like the connectivity.
Now Kedz is doing the exact same thing.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
To be frank, bro, I think it's probably your side.
It might be.
My side seems to be okay. Trip seemed to be okay on my side. I didn't see him cutting it around.
Fine on my end.
Hold on.
Okay. All right, we'll figure this thing out. Trip's back. Nomad, if you got a vamp or come back, do it. But I think we're okay. Long story short, though, man, I think there's room to make moves like this. I think there's cap availability, and the other part that makes it super cool, strangely, is that they've got guys riding the bench. Those guys riding the pine can be fodder for trade in certain situations. Like the Raiders need a running back. The Kansas City Chiefs could use a running back too.
It was definitely me, man. It was definitely on my side.
It was your side. There you go. But
well, that's why I said, I don't know if you could hear me because I had to reset. But I would not be upset with the Myles Garrett or a caliber player, but there is no other caliber player like him other than like maybe a Maxx Crosby. But I just do not see this front office spending that kind of resources all on that side of the ball. But like in my own Madden franchise or NBA 2K, I have all the best players.
Lawrence Taylor's playing. Yeah, why not bring him back? I'm just saying this is something that I think that they could actually pull off, and I don't think it would be extremely detrimental to this team. And the best part is they would still, for the most part, have a full complement of draft capital for next season too, or sorry, for this coming off season. So there's your fix to the offensive line come hell or high water. But I would definitely be looking at moving a Khalil Herbert right now for an offensive lineman. That's really what I'd be looking at trying to do, or Velus Jones for an offensive lineman.
I just know this. I know what the big boy teams do when they think they have an opportunity. The best thing we have going for us, and when I say the best thing, I'm talking about second to this defense, making sure that we're stable in every game and have an opportunity to win a game. The second best thing to that is the unknown, guys, the unknown that the offense brings to the table. Nobody knows how they're going to attack from week to week. And the value in that is astronomical. There's no tape. You can't put a price on how valuable that is when a defensive coordinator is sitting there preparing for a game in a room with a clicker in his hand, trying to figure out, okay, they like this, they like that. This is new quarterback, new coordinator. He's only gotten to a tidbit of his offensive playbook, right? And what else does he have on the table? That would give me, as a defensive coordinator, nightmares. And so therein lies your opportunity to really surprise every team that you got to deal with from this point on. And so that's everything you need in the world. And that is the element of surprise gives you more opportunity. So those teams that you guys think, okay, when we see this team or that team, I don't know, we're good enough of a team to deal with them. They don't know if they're a good enough team to beat you. because they don't know what the fuck you're gonna do to them.
I give it 2 games before the mini cooler Kramer catches his first touchdown.
Oh, you think they're going down that road? You think?
Well, he comes
doing
in
that
as
for a
the
reason.
fullback, but it won't be long before they fake the run and then toss it over the top.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They set
All
it up.
right.
You gotta every great play comes with a setup. He's right.
All right. I'm
Right.
I'm so with that. I think Kramer deserves at least one this season. That would be fantastic for him. But yeah, I like what's going on. I like what they've been doing across the board, and I have very little complaints. I just need them to continue stacking it because Nomad, you just said the least crazy thing you've ever said, bro, and that is just element of surprise. There's no tape on this offense, right? There's 6 games of tape at this point, and the question as you move forward is like, what are they going to do against my team? Well, they've never played you before. So if you think your team's like the teams we've already beaten, then they're probably just going to beat you. Yeah. I love it.
Kids, just look at it this way. You're sitting there in a room and you're looking at the way they attacking defenses. And you get a good sense of what they want to do under center. You get a good sense of what they like to do in RPO. You get a good sense of what they like to do in empty. And so once you've got that ingrained in your head, all right, this is what they like to do out of RPO. This is what they like to do out of empty. And these are the plays that they like to run under center. This is what they're trying to do. Once you've got that in your head, now you're the offensive coordinator for the Bears, looking at that exact same film. Now you're knowing what you're putting on film. Now you've got the element of surprise in the rest of your fucking playbook and saying, we haven't shown them this out of that. We haven't shown them this out of that or that out of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we don't realize as fans how fortunate we are to be in this situation with a 4-2 record and not even have looked at over half of the fucking playbook yet and haven't got all these guys involved in it. There is so much to be had. And I'm telling you, defensive coordinators, if there was any team in the NFC that you'd have to be worried about with the momentum that we have going on right now, it's the fucking Chicago Bears. You know what Green Bay is going to bring to the table. You know what Minnesota is going to bring to the table. You absolutely know what Detroit can do to you. They don't hide anything. They're just really good at it. And so the Bears, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm telling you, that's the scariest team to deal with. Absolutely the scariest team to deal with.
As always, we can already see that the offensive coordinator of Shane Waldron's has more in his proverbial bag than the Luke Kedz he had. And we still, as Nomad has said, have not seen shit of it yet.
It's true. There is no tape, right? So like what a DC is going to look at is previous Shane Waldron. Let's look at the last couple of years and what does he like to do with his quarterback. So that's what they're going to look at. Then they're going to look at this last 6 games and go, okay, does this even correlate with what he's done with the other quarterbacks? If it does, okay, well, maybe we might have a little bit of an idea as to what he's going to do this week. And all Shane Waldron has to do is not do that stuff. You know what I mean? He just needs to do the next progressive play available to him by way of that offensive scheme. So I'm
Think about
I'm
this.
with it. Yeah.
Think about this. When's the last time you seen Kari Blasingame being used effectively and aggressively in a football game?
Well, he's hurt though, right? So it's been a little.
Oh no, he was out there last week.
He was
out there
on the victory formation with the Tyler Scotts.
Yeah, he was out there.
And the teabag Tyson Bagents.
And that just goes to show you, let's just say all of a sudden Kyrie Blasingame gets written into the next script. All of a sudden it's like, hold on, there's no Kyrie Blasingame in the film that we've been looking at. Okay, what's he gonna do?
He's gonna run some damn screens, and they won't see it coming.
That's the element of surprise I'm talking about. You see what I mean?
I do.
You fold in Tyler Scott. You haven't seen him in that stack formation or that bunch formation. Now all of a sudden you take But what's his name?
Wrong.
Keenan Allen. You take Keenan Allen out of that and you stack Tyler Scott in that. Okay. First thing they're gonna think about, okay, they want to run him deep. That's what he's known for. He's a deep threat. And you do him on a shallow cross going across the field with all that speed, drop it off because they're expecting a deep route from him. That's the element of surprise. What happens when you haven't been using what's his name? Everett? You haven't been using Everett more than just a blocker or somebody that's out there, being a disguise. All of a sudden he gets activated 1 week. So there's pieces that we have that haven't been really, let's just say Valus makes it through all this smoke and they throw him out there. Another element of surprise. So we've got layers to what we can present on the football field that defensive coordinators can't really plan for it. They can just pull them out of nowhere. And like Tripp says, that whole using Big 68 as a blocker, that's just really setting it up for is pull it out of his stomach, boom, drop it off over the middle, touchdown. This is
and
all
something else that the Nomad had not spoken upon is the rookie wide receiver Rome Odunze. He does the end arounds, he goes short, he goes long. As a rookie, he goes all over the field. You can never really tell where he's going to be because he lines up all over and runs the different routes. And he is a very good blocker for the run game.
And another thing, Chef Trips, how many jet sweeps have you seen?
A few, not many.
Exactly. But you've seen them set up for the jet sweep. They've shown you that look, right?
Exactly.
So several times, and they haven't run the jet sweep out of it. And so that kind of lulls a defense to sleep. So if you haven't handed it off on a jet sweep or tossed it to that player, you're talking about the element of surprise. There's so many layers to it. And hopefully we'll have Coach T on here tomorrow. And I know he likes to break down offense. And that's just, he does it on the all 22, which I hate to do, but which is what I like. He likes to do it. I like for him to do it. But there's elements to this, Kedz and Trips, that I don't, me as a football player, I know being a defensive, looking at the game through the defense's lenses, that I'm like, damn, they got this guy, they got that guy. They haven't even involved this person in the offense. Keenan is just now getting involved. You know what I mean? So, like, they don't know.
It is like a layer cake. We are still on the first layer, and then you got the icing in the middle, on another layer, and then more icing in the middle, then another layer, then the icing on the top, and then the topping. We have not even gotten to the third layer yet.
We're rich and we don't even know it, and we're still eating ramen noodles. That's fan base. That's what we got. We got caviar money. We got tomahawk ribeye steaks money, and we're selling for ramen noodles. How are you gonna be mad that the fan base is looking to see, certain parts of the fan base is looking to see that Myles Garrett could be something that puts us over the top? I think people are defeated as a fan base, and they're scared to really hope. To be honest with you,
the thing with a lot of the Twitter GMs is that they say, well, we trade for Myles Garrett, then we also trade for the Maxx Crosby, and then we trade for this, and then we trade for that, and they are unrealistic with their trade proposals because we cannot afford all of those guys. And so it's not like they say, well, we'll focus on the Myles Garrett or the one player. It's like, well, let's get all of the all-stars from around the league and stack them on this team.
All right. Hey, Trip Chef, I got a very interesting question that I think I brought up. Kids, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I believe I brought this up with Brendan yesterday. So Big Williams in San Francisco, let's just say in the next 2 weeks before the trade deadline, San Francisco goes straight to shit, and there's no chance for him. And let's just say the word gets out that Trent Williams might become available. Trent Williams is pretty old, right? But do you say no to that move, even if just for a year?
It depends on the cost. Because they won't just give him away. and then we still have to pay him. So it's the matter of resource allocation.
So Black Diamond, he's saying Myles Garrett is going to cost 2 firsts and a second, and you only make that move if you're one piece away. And he's saying we are not. There's a lot.
Well, hold on now. 2 firsts and a second.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. You know, that's a 30-year-old man.
But if
First
you
of
were
all,
Cleveland,
take the first out of there. Take the first out of there. What you say, Trips?
If you are Cleveland and can spark a bidding war,
Yeah.
At 30, if he was 25, I would say first round is Black Diamond, to be straight up with you. But he's 30 now. You know
Bro, you see, like the rounding is a little bit off. He's 27. You know what I mean? So like he's smack in the middle of the 2 roundings you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
I can't like you might want to do it. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I think
sure as heck wouldn't give no 2 firsts for anybody. They're trying to really put the whole, and it's an interesting one, right? Like that's the same kind of caliber that Khalil Mack trade was, right? But I don't think anybody in the league should be compensating the Cleveland Browns for their mismanagement. That's just the one thing I'm going to say here.
You talking about straight business, and we're talking about the viability of somebody. I don't think first rounders got anything to do. I know Myles Garrett is a bad motherfucker. Trust me.
Bro, he was a first overall pick. So, like, it's not the craziest scenario here.
How much did the Giants give to the Brian Burns, the Jaguars or the Panthers? Right?
I don't know if there's any first.
I think there was a first involved, but I don't think it was no 2 firsts.
Because Brian Burns is younger, but there was a trade involved. So they had to give up some sort of draft capital. And if he's younger, now obviously the Myles Garrett has more productivity and is more of a beast, and so he may cost more. And the draft capital.
Yeah, he can't cost them kind of things because this is his second NFL contract. So he's been, you know what I mean? He's been through his rookie. Basically is at the end of his second contract. He's on contract number 3 now. So yeah, he does deserve top NFL money. I don't think draft capital like you know what I mean? Like 2 firsts is commensurate. I think that's pretty crazy. So the Giants picked up Brian Burns for pick number 39. Pick number 141.
That's the second round.
You know what they are. You know what I'm saying? So 39 is a second rounder. 141 is like a 4th rounder and a 5th rounder. 141 might be a 3rd, but
so not even a first.
No first involved here at all.
And Brian Burns is younger, and so Myles Garrett ain't gonna cost you no fucking first. And I ain't Black Diamond, I ain't trying to get at you about none of this. I'm just saying that when it comes to negotiations, there's a lot of little leverage points there that you can use. Now, Myles Garrett again is a bad son of a bitch. He's bad, and everybody knows that what you're offering and what you're gonna get for him ain't never gonna add up. You know what I mean? You just got to get to a point where you're okay with what's being offered versus all the other offers out there. It's going to be like if it gets to a point where he is available, which I think he probably will be, it's about what the other teams might be offering. So some other team, do I see Ryan Poles giving up some first rounders for him? Hell no. Hell to the no. But if it gets down to some 2s, 3s, I'm thinking more like a late second, early 3. You know what I mean? That's and maybe something else, to go with it. But other than that, I think he's gettable. You just can't let the team.
So like maybe the Bears pick, not the Panthers second round pick, but the Bears second round pick and a DeMarcus Walker's.
Something like
that. You know what? I want to keep D-Walk. I would put a Jacob Martin out there just because like we ain't seen him.
or
So-
Dominic Robinson's.
Yeah, that's the guy we put out there.
That's what you
That's
wanted
the
to
guy.
say.
Say what?
That's what you wanted to say, Dominic Robinson.
I was, you know, it is, you know, it was too, but like that's what should happen. He should, they should make a nice little trade like that. Send them an edge rusher in compensation, developmental talent. Don't have to pay him a lot. And put the money behind Garrett. Long story short, I think that's an earth-shattering Super Bowl direction move.
Well, tomorrow by the pool, I will approach the Ryan Poles, who looks fantastic in a bathing suit now that he's lost his weight and doing his laps around the field before the games. And I will put a bug in his ear.
See, I believe that's the only thing you're putting in his ear.
Oh, watch out now, Canada.
Oh man.
Hey, that's why y'all come to the Super No Maniac Lounge, man. We have a good time up in here. And just we're going to have real conversations. And the people that agree and disagree or whatever's going on inside here, this is why, you know, we have these conversations, man. This is why you become a member. It's just fun shit to do. You know, the truth is what's going to happen, Black Diamond and everybody else watching and listening, is there's going to be a move made or not. Or two. You know, you just, you know, we didn't get to this part of it yet. And let's get to this real quick. The seller part of it. And to me, there's one selling, there's one piece of merchandise that could be sold right now. Some people say 2 or 3, some people say 4. I'm talking about Khalil Herbert in particular. Some people say, you know, I've heard people say, you know, you can trade Keenan right now to, you know, some people think that we're not a playoff team. I'm talking about within the fan base. Say, hey, trade them to a contender and get some draft capital. I hear a lot of that going on. I hear a lot of, you know, be honest with you, I know people don't want to hear this shit, but it's a lot of Tevin Jenkins trade stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so those 3 names in particular have value. You know what I mean? Khalil Herbert to Dallas, I can see Ryan Poles right now behind trips on that beach talking shit to Jerry Jones, like, Jerry, man, who you think you talking to? I ain't no punk. You have to come better than that. You ain't finna give me no 6 for no Khalil Herbert when I know you need him. Shut the fuck up. Call me back when you're ready. That could be going on right now. I don't know. Like I don't, be honest with you, my ears don't really want to hear moving Keenan Allen right now, but I know it's a part of plausible possibility.
But
It's
the
plausible.
thing with the Keenan Allen's is if he is not re-signed by the Chicago Bears at the end of the season and signs with another team, does not the Chicago Bears get a 3rd-round compensation pick?
Well, the thing is, Trips, is the fact that people really would have thought that he was already signed to an extension, especially after DJ got his money. A lot of people was expecting, like, right after that, Keenan would get his, and the fact that he's not coming into the trade deadline is kind of making people feel kind of curious. You know what I mean?
Well, but that would be the same with Tevin Jenkins, who his injury history is a detriment to him signing a new contract, and then the Khalil Herbert is not being really utilized as a running back, and then the non-actives like the Nate Davis or the Bayless Jones Jr. or the Dom Robinson, you know, they could all be flipped for future capital because they are not serving like the purpose now or in the future, so we get something for them.
Bango, bingo, and all those things. You know, all what Chef Trip said. I think from a seller perspective, you really could be looking at all of the guys that Nomad lit up, as well as Chef Trip. Whether that's Khalil Herbert, Tevin Jenkins, I would hate to see him go, but again, you know, I have no clue what kind of contract they'll be looking at for Tevin. So you don't want to sign somebody like that at this present time. You know, you just don't want to throw numbers at that. Same token with any of the guys that we've talked about here. So maybe they start to look at letting some of them go. But once more, the other interesting factor is IR. because nobody expected Larry Borum to be sitting on IR. Nobody expected Jacob Martin to be sitting on IR. Nobody expected Ryan Bates to be on IR either. So with all three of those guys returning to the squad, they got to make moves. And one of the moves they could make is just cutting certain people. I don't see that being the case right now. I think the players left on this roster are just valuable enough that they may actually be able to flip them and get some level of compensation back.
Well, in a perfect world, you would the Ryan Pauls would find a team who is somewhat against the cap and has a young offensive lineman who is due for a contract, who is good, but they cannot afford. And then they say, hey, we will eat part of Nate Davis's contract. We will give you him. You will give us the young guy.
All right. I got something to throw out, and I want to throw this to the Super No Maniacs first. You guys let me know. Now, I think I don't know which one of you guys brought it up, but Larry Bourne was a name that I forgot to throw on that list as possible, capital for something. Whether it's
they can't trade him. They can't trade him.
Why?
He's on IR.
First reason is he's on IR.
He'll be off IR by the time the trade deadline.
First reason is he's on IR. Second reason is the amount of money they're actually paying him this season. The dead cap hit it's slightly significant. So if they were going to,
that is not a lot.
It's a decent amount to pay a swing tackle.
Well, he's going to be on the team. He's going to be on the 53 and available before this trade deadline in a couple of weeks, right? So we got four names. We got Tevin Jenkins, we've got Khalil Herbert, got Borum, and we've got Keenan Allen. I'm asking you guys, Maniacs, and I'm asking you guys, you two here, what is the more likely possibility if you had to circle one to be moved? What's the one that you see has more favorability than the other ones?
Well, I'll give you two out of those, and the first is clearly Khalil.
Just give me one. Just give me one. Just give me one. You had
Khalil.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think the Khalil Herbert has more of a play now value to other teams.
Yep. I think that's the most likely thing to happen because
me too.
I've at first, it was just like, okay, Khalil Herbert, when they were talking in camp, like he was demoted down to the third running back. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Like Roshan hadn't showed me enough to be like, nah, I wasn't feeling that. I'm just like, what's going on? So apparently, and I said this a couple shows ago, 2-3 shows ago, something went down. Come on, man. Hey, man, I'm just trying not to see that. I'm trying to talk, man. God, dog, man, cover that up, please.
I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Golly, man, you hurting my goddamn eyes. I'm just trying to see what I'm saying. But, no, but it just didn't make no sense. If they don't trade Khalil Herbert, if they don't find another home for him, like, what do you think? What do you guys think is a right price for Khalil Herbert? Let's just say Jerry Jones is the team that's looking at him.
I think the right price for Khalil Herbert is access to a starting offensive lineman.
Hey, I don't think they're getting that out of them because Dallas's offensive line is already leaking.
Well, I'm not. I don't care. It doesn't have to be Dallas. It could be the Kansas City Chiefs. It could be the Las Vegas Raiders. There's teams out there who need running backs. Right?
The actual value would possibly be a third or a fourth, fifth, mid-round pick.
And that's, I think, see, why I say the offensive lineman very specifically is like they have draft capital for the season. It's not that big a deal to make a trade just to get draft capital right now. But if you can make a trade, I don't like. And if I was Ryan Poles, I would even consider spending draft capital, much along the lines of what we've discussed here today. But if you could package Khalil Herbert and a pick to get access to somebody who can really help you on that offensive line, whether that's at the left tackle position or the center position, I'm starting to really like what we have at guard. It's a little bit funky, but I'm starting to really like it. Tevin Jenkins is awesome. Pryor and Murray are great. It's like a buddy cop movie. Anyways, that line's starting to really gel minus a Nate Davis. So if you can find a little bit of help, maybe at center, maybe at left tackle, and if Khalil Herbert can contribute to that situation, that's what I would be looking for.
But the thing is, it's not always it. While I understand what the Kedz is saying, that you get something for now, but it could be a situation to where Khalil Herbert will not be re-signed, so you flip him for something.
That is okay. You know what? That is a good factor, because if you don't do anything, come by the end of this season, you get nothing for him, and he's a free agent anyhow. You're right. Good point.
Hey fellas, you know something else that I didn't mention the whole time while we've been doing the show. I'm kind of like Trips. I'm a good snoop. Trips is down at Maui snooping on polls on vacation, seeing how many calls he's taking in or not, and trying to get him to pick up that phone. But here's some information I found out late before the show, like real late, like about 10 minutes before the show. I like to snoop around on other podcasts and see what the other reporters and other beats. We got our beat writers. You got your Hogs, your Fishbane, and all those guys. You got Herb. All these people that we pay close attention to. There's those guys and other beats too. So something that I heard, and I got a contact that I can talk to about that, but I don't know if I can get him on the show. I'll try. But in Indianapolis, there's a good possibility that Jonathan Taylor could be. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm just saying, we're talking about trading the running backs and getting. I'm just saying, Jonathan Taylor could be out there on the move. I don't know. This is what I know. I know Dallas, and I know Kansas City feel like. And Kansas City in particular probably feels like they're running back away from winning it again. Just putting that out there.
So there's that. Ain't nobody trying to just give, especially in the AFC, ain't nobody trying to just give them a running back. Mind you, Ryan Poles is exactly that guy. Used to do stuff over there. Happens to have a running back ready for him. So it would be an interesting look. I'm sure there's an offensive lineman that's been protecting Patrick Mahomes for some time that might do well in a Bears uniform. I just haven't identified who that is yet. Like that's where I am with that situation. But I wouldn't be surprised by it at all. I think that's the perfect move. I just don't think anybody's really made a play for them, for Khalil Herbert, along the lines of what they're looking for. As far as JT is concerned, John Taylor, he was also one of those available backs this past offseason. The Bears really had their selection of all of the top caliber, high caliber running backs in the league this offseason. They selected DeAndre Swift, and right now I think DeAndre Swift is actually playing to his contract.
I got another thing I got to tell you guys, and take it for what it's worth. Again, I'm snooping around in these other podcasts, following these other reporters, and seeing what they're talking about and what they're hearing. Sometimes the shit amounts to nothing, but other times it's like sometimes these motherfuckers actually know what they're talking about. I had to find out that the hard way with Braggs and some stuff that he told me that I can't repeat. I've been sworn to secrecy on some stuff, but I know some things now that I didn't know before. Let's just say that. Now, here's another little rumor I've heard. If the 49ers do not rally up and get on and really start showing that they can be contenders this year, which I don't see, in the next couple of games before this trade deadline, word is Deebo Samuel. I hear the hardline football player in that team is probably George Kittle. He won't move unless they force him out. But Deebo Samuel could probably fake an injury and get traded at the deadline. Deebo Samuels and Ayuk, even though he just got re-signed to a contract.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, it ain't. I'm telling you. I wish
They
I
can't.
could see what I'm talking about. I'm just telling you, if they don't turn the momentum, if they don't catch momentum, they got a game Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. If they don't come out there and if Kansas City goes out there and thumps them, everything I'm telling you is gonna start coming to real life. I promise you. You can believe what you want. I'm just telling you. If Kansas City goes out there and thumps the fuck out of them, who were basically their rival and their Super Bowl contender. If Kansas City goes out and thumps the fuck out of them, I'm telling you, you're going to see a change in the tide and in the conversation of what people say about the San Francisco 49ers. Those fucking reporters hearing something.
So some of what you're saying is true. And other parts is just absolutely crazy talk.
Okay, until it happens.
Here's the truth part. The truth of the matter is, in my opinion, and I said this earlier in the season, I believe that their Super Bowl window closed.
I told you that at the beginning.
You told me that. I said it myself. You didn't tell me a goddamn thing.
Right.
I said it at the beginning of the season that the San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl window is closed. God damn it. Speaking of close
that was still here when I said that.
Bro, I'm saying I definitely. Well, we can go back and pull receipts and all that, but who cares? Long story short, their window is potentially closed, and if they feel like that from an organizational perspective, they will make moves in that vein. The problem is they just spent big money on a Brandon Ayuk, so he's not going anywhere. Or sorry, Ayuk can't go anywhere.
The thing about that is, kids, if you know you got an unhappy guy.
$120 million, bro. $120 million contract. Unhappy or not. You can't do anything about that.
Here's the thing. Sometimes it gets down to structurally, maybe the thing that didn't happen in Pittsburgh that probably would have facilitated that to probably happen easier was to get him under contract. You get him under contract. Get him. I'm just saying that the 49ers got him under contract, and sometimes that's easier to help trade it. Because you can get your arms around the numbers a whole lot better. Because if you trade him with that contract status up in the air, now you got to figure out exactly what you're going to come. Now that the fucking agent has some leverage, now that he's got numbers that they can wrap their arms around, he's probably easier to trade.
And considering that the Pittsburgh Steelers are not paying their quarterbacks any money, and we only need the Justin Fields to have 11 more quarters to get that 4th round pick. Let's hope that the old guy Russell Wilson's he not gets hurt bad, but goes down, and then Justin Fields can get back on the field, and then maybe they will say, hey, we need the Ayuks to come in and be a target.
Not for $120 million.
What's the year?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's his contract. Like, it's just crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy talk. He signed a 4-year, $120 million contract this year. His dead cap next year, his dead cap this year, if they actually did this, is $45 million. Boom, one time. It's crazy. Like, we're talking a lot of cheddar here, specifically with this guy. I don't see him being involved in any sort of a move. If they were going to move him, they needed to do it when they had the opportunity to do it. And if they were going to move him, they probably should have just not did a deal with him until, and waited till trade deadline and let him walk or trade him at that point. This way, you're not obligated to pay out $50 million. Like, that's just crazy.
So Christian McCaffrey, this is the word in the San Francisco beat. The idea was to because Christian McCaffrey took too many fucking carries last year, and he's not a young back anymore. All those carries added up, and his legs took a toll. And in the offseason, he was doing things to try to get his knees back in order, and some shit didn't go quite right. And this is the word. Now I'm just repeating to you what people like Grant Cohn, who's a big time San Francisco beat reporter, they hate that motherfucker, but he just comes out there and he's like the the Adam Hogue of the San Francisco beat. Some people love him, some people fucking hate him. And I'm just there for the information. I don't give a fuck about what nobody thinks about him or Adam Hogue, really, to be honest with you. But this is the information. The plan was that because Christian, they knew they wouldn't want to put the mileage on him early in the season. They thought they had a good enough team to use their backups to carry them in the early part of the season and keep a winning record and give him time to really get himself together. And in the late part of the season, like in the last quarter of the season to the middle of the season, apply Christian McCaffrey and then kind of put them over the top. They wanted to save him. And things didn't go quite right. Not only that, the team ain't performed. I think they lost too many pieces. And now they're behind the 8 ball, and Christian McCaffrey is still recovering. You know what I mean? So now they lost momentum. And now what do you do with that? Do you take that all the way to the limit, or do you cut your losses and say, you know what? We're out of this shit and we need to do something. That's what it comes down to.
So from a cut your losses perspective, I'm gonna show you something. Actually, I'll just share it. Hold on. So I'm over here looking at their stuff, since we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers.
Ricky Pearsall is in his window to return too after getting shot, by the way.
I'm just saying there's a lot of human beings here on injured reserve or player unable to play. Drake Greenlaw, Drake Jackson, got your Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, Javon Hargrave. Like, these are important players on this team. Elijah Mitchell, again, one of those running backs that you were talking about who would have, been playing that, that backup role. Hufanga, this is a big chunk of importance, on this team that is just missing. So unfortunately,
you might look at that as some legit fucking injury, serious injury shit going on. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes these motherfuckers know what's going on and they get on IR knowing this thing is headed the wrong direction.
Like who? Like, it's too early. Like,
I can tell you,
for this team, it's way too early in the season for them to be taking their ball.
I can tell you, Javon Hargrave and Grossman Toast.
I don't think so, bro. I'm just
telling you. Like, you gotta remember, you talking to a motherfucker that know a few people.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I would be surprised if that is the case in week 6 for a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. Right? Like, if you don't take your ball and go home this early, like Cleveland Browns, take your ball and go home.
You just got through premising, you just defeated your whole argument. You just got through saying that you felt like, if you feel like their fucking window is closed, what do you think they feel like up close and personal, seeing what's going on? Like, do you think Dallas has a real chance to come back and make a run for something? Do you?
I feel like their windows. I feel like their windows closed.
Their division sucks.
What about Dallas? Do you think they got a chance to come back?
Oh, hell no.
Wow.
There's the same shit going on in San Fran.
Wait a minute. What's the Eagles' record right now? They're not lighting up the NFL
they have
either.
A chance to come back?
They might. In that division, they might.
Okay.
Right. But I think Dallas is more of the internal thing.
Same thing going on in San Fran. You just got to get a little bit closer to the situation.
But the thing is, the division that the Dallas Cowboys are in is a better division than what the 49ers are in.
They should run away with this division, even if what hits the fan, and it kind of looked like done hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looked like it kind of hit that fan.
The NFC West used to be the beast of the NFC, and that was who you had to claw and scratch and scrape through to get to where you need to go. Things have changed dramatically, flipped to the NFC North. They got to come see us now.
Yeah.
And so you look around when you got Green Bay putting a whooping on a team like Dallas or something like that, in the playoff situation, putting a beating on them, and they never recovered from it. Now you got DeMarcus Lawrence, you got what's his name, number 11. You don't have a pass rush, and the only thing you have on offense really to hang your hat on is 88 on offense. That's it. And what are you going to do with that? You could just sit there and act like you're a contender. Same thing with San Francisco. Without Christian McCaffrey, they're not a contender.
So, like, here's the thing. So, and you have to look at the mentality of the ownership / GM in Dallas. He's not going to go into a full, like, when was the last time? Like, have we ever seen the Dallas Cowboys truly in a rebuild?
Hardly.
You know what I'm saying? They don't really rebuild over there. So I don't see them fire sailing out or really cutting bait on multiple human beings. I just don't see that happening in Dallas. Never seen it in my in all the years of my life. I don't think I'm going to see it here now. I also don't think they're in that, I don't think they're in that big trouble right now. What I am going to say is they definitely need. Hold on, they definitely need some specific tweaks to that offense, to that team that won't happen until the offseason.
Are they contenders?
In this particular season in the NFL, no, I don't think that they're not, in my opinion.
They're fucked then.
And this year they're not. But like, this is the thing: if you're screwed this year, do you push the nuclear panic button and blow it all up, which is sort of what you're suggesting they do in San Francisco? And that's what I'm worried about. I know the Cowboys won't blow it up. And in San Francisco, blowing it up, and a little bit more to say here. So in San Francisco, blowing it up sheds a bad light on the coaches, on Shanahan, and they may have to do things with that. And nobody really wants that. Like, Shanahan's a great coach. I believe he is. I think the Niners believe he's a great coach. I don't see him pushing the panic button either. I think they're going to do the tweak thing. And at the same time, I don't believe the tweak thing will work. That's just me. I think they'll have too good a record to do anything at the quarterback position. I think they've got too many massive contracts over there that nobody's going to want to take on. So I think they're in a little bit of a problem situation for the next year until they can start to offload stuff and not get penalized for offloading stuff. And that's where we are with the Niners.
At one point, see, the difference between San Francisco and Dallas is Jerry is a pivot point.
He is.
In San Francisco, they gave the autonomy to the coach, saying, what do we need? What do we need? We're a couple pieces away. I can see it being close. What do you need? We're giving the autonomy to you. And after a couple, 2 or 3 seasons where they hit a window where they got right there and didn't get it done, now you can see a team clearly, if you're watching close and being objective, a team that's on a decline now. Yeah. So that's the difference between Dallas and San Fran. Dallas can take this thing all the way as long as Jerry Jones thinks he can keep air in his lungs, and he still thinks this is a playoff team. He can play that game and not break it down and try to start something over. He don't want to do it. He's a fucking old man, and he knows he only has so much time in life. But it's different in San Fran. They don't have the fucking pocketbook. The fucking GM and the owner does, and so they can pull that. They can pull the stop plug on that shit any fucking time they want to. And so in San Francisco, I see more likely in the next couple of weeks, you will find out whether or not San Francisco is going to be a team that's going to break down or not. And I think I see breakdown coming.
I don't think so. And I'm going to ask you sort of a follow-up question as to like that goes right along with this conversation. So if San Francisco goes the way that you're thinking, do you think that they stick with Kyle Shanahan, sorry? Or will they move on?
They won't be able to find a better coach.
You're damn straight. And if they can't find a better coach, there's no way that coach lets go of his. There's no way he pushes the nuclear option.
I would just say that I think if they did anything,
I'm asking you the same question about the Cowboys, though. Do you think that they move on from Mike McCarthy?
They need a better coach. He's out of there,
and that's exactly what I think too. right? So I think that they will. I think the boys will move on from Mike McCarthy. I have a feeling Bill Belichick will wind up over there, but we'll see what that looks like down the road.
They
I
say
have
that the Bill Belichicks might join Tom Brady in Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas. That is also very possible, considering some of the things we were saying about Antonio.
Really can see that he hates that motherfucker.
Who?
Brady can't stand that motherfucker, and Belichick can't stand him.
But
Bro,
he's a good
they
coach.
can definitely do business together.
I don't know. I don't see that.
What are you talking about? Like, wouldn't that be the best though?
That's stupid.
Yo, that would be
You've already done that. You're not recreating that.
No, like follow me though. So like, you work at this store, and your boss is a dick, and you work for the store. You're at the store for like 10 years, and you hate this guy, and you wish nothing but terrible things happen to him, except for the fact that,
feel like that, man.
you know what I mean? Except that you've actually done well for yourself underneath this guy, and you're doing all right. Like, things are good, your family's fed, you got no worries, except like, this guy's a dick. And then you wind up leaving the company, buying the company, and hiring that motherfucker. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically where Tom Brady is right now. He just bought the Raiders, and he can go hire this guy, and he has to report to Tom Brady. That's the best thing that could ever happen in America. I think that just kind of saying.
And you think Bill Belichick's going to roll with that? I doubt it.
So let me turn down this $30 million. Let me turn down this $30 million contract. Why not? Why wouldn't he? Because it's Tom. He's gonna ego up. I work for Tom Brady. Like,
Because he would be back into coaching, and he would make more money than on the TV.
It's a win-win situation.
Bill Belichick got more life behind him than he has in front of him. That motherfucker is not fucking around with Tom Brady, giving Tom Brady the nuclear code to the rest of his career. I don't see it.
For $30 million, you'll see all sorts of things will show up in front of you.
He ain't giving that motherfucker no $30 million.
Bro, what do you think they're paying? Well, okay, maybe it's not $30 million. Maybe it's a solid.
I think people give Belichick, and he deserves a lot of credit. But I think the people around Belichick, like your Mayos, that's coaching I mean, there's a lot of people in and around that shit that Tom Brady knows that was the secret to the sauce. He knows that Bill Belichick's an old man now, and he don't want to start no new fucking franchise and give this franchise a new look with an old ass man. Why would you want to do that?
Just so I could make his life a living hell, because he was my boss and he drove me crazy. Hey, man.
Put the butts in the seats, though.
He on some Kedz on some personal shit. He want to drive. He's hunting vampires and shit, and want to drive stake through hearts. And
hey, man, somebody gotta Blade gotta be Blade gotta be out there, bro. Somebody gotta be Blade.
But speaking of not being able to see it, I can smell the pork that has been cooking down in the beach under the ground.
Oh, the luau.
It smells like dinner is served for the luau, and I want to see those sexy stews from the Emirates Airlines. So I have to depart because I would love to stay with you, but I'm in Maui, so fuck you.
If that was not the best exit I've ever seen,
I tell you what, let's do him the right way, because he came to it live from Maui. So let's do it the right way. Let's close this shit on out the right way. Let's give some parting thoughts and some pleasantries before we get ready to get out of here. I know how to take a hint.
Oh, well said. Yeah, so big ups to the whole crew out there, especially my guy Triple R. We'll start with that. Chef Trips, good to have you fresh from Maui. Enjoy the luau. Walk on some hot coals if they're out there. Do wear the lei, get laid, do the whole darn thing, and by all means, make sure that you infiltrate Ryan Pohl's hotel room and find some sort of means to make certain that he signs a deal with Myles Garrett in the next 2 weeks. That's what we need.
That hotel room. You don't want to see nothing you don't want to see.
Well, hey man, all right, I'll leave it on. Anyways, so yeah, we'll give you guys some love for giving us some love. Big love to our guy, Super No Maniac King, Book of World, holding it down with us. Our guy, Black Diamond, was out there holding it down. Same thing with Joseph Archer. Mad love to the Nodge, Patty Laura, Armando Jr. Who else we got out there? Jay Grizz, Dante Purify, the Scrolls. Mad love to all you guys. Thanks for always coming through, giving us the love, and we'll always give it right back to you. So once more, let me throw it down to Chef Trip so he can give you the double middle finger salute, and we can get the heck out of here.
Thank you very much to the Nomadiacs and to all of the peoples that will view this. Please visit the channel at Sports Chicago Style and help us get to 100 subscribers, as we are well on our way. And we have a lifestyle type channel, as I do my cooking video recipes on the Tuesdays. And then we have Trip. He does his exercise vlog on the Mondays. And then Coach Tripping and then Trip will be doing their self-defense on, I believe, the Wednesdays. And then we have our sports programming. So you can find us on all of our social medias at the Sports Chicago Style. Thank you.
Shout out to my guy, Chef Trips, live from Maui. Came through with it. You know, all I want to do is tell you, say what up to Kehlani for me. There's a lot of Kehlanis down there that's beautiful that I would love to meet. And I would trade places with you right now to be, I trade places. Damn, I would love to be where you are right now. The Kehlanis down there, the beauty of Maui, man. You know, whatever you can find out on Chef polls, let us know, man, because I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you guys this, No Maniacs, Super No Maniacs, you know, you guys signed up and were great enough to give us a membership and make us make this show for you guys. What I want to say to you guys is, this is framing around this conversation right here. Number one, you won't find another conversation like this in the Bears media. You won't find another conversation that had layers to it. What I want to point out to you is there's going to be a couple things that happen in the very near future, within the next week, 2 weeks, that you heard it here first. I don't know exactly which is going to happen, but I got my eyes on some stuff, and some stuff that we said here, right here on the Super No Maniac Lounge to you Super No Maniacs, is going to play out. And I'm telling you guys, I don't care what nobody says. The content that we put out over here and the emphasis we put on the details about, you know, just thinking about, you know, the plausible, you know, situations that can happen. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people out here with a lot of opinions, which all I respect, you know what I mean? But nobody's willing to put it and frame it to you in the context that we do over here on the Nomad Network, specifically at the Super No Maniac Lounge. I think we said some shit that's going to actually take place probably within the next several days. Be honest with you. Some of it's going to take a week or two to play out, but Lord have mercy, if Trip don't cover his ass up, I'm going to hurt somebody. God damn. It makes me want to get off this show, and that's what I'm going to do because I'm worried about him right now. And so let me leave you guys with this, man. Hey.
This is my beach attire.
Hey, you know what? You and the whales got a problem going on right now, and we'll leave that there. If you can think it and you can see it, you can absolutely manifest it. Don't be a prisoner of your mind. Go out and make some shit happen for yourself. With that being said, we are